So today, we're going to dive into one of the most important, but honestly, often overlooked parts of building truly powerful AI. We're talking about preparing the data that turns a general model into a specialized, domain-specific expert.
So let's just think about this. You've got this incredible general-purpose AI, right? But what you really need is an expert in, say, legal analysis or medical diagnosis. How do you actually get it from being a jack-of-all-trades to a master of one?
Well, the answer, as it so often is in AI, all comes down to the data. But not just any data. We're talking about meticulously prepared, super high-quality data. And this isn't just a nice-to-have. It is the absolute backbone of the entire fine-tuning process.
Okay, so let's break this down. We're going to walk through a 5-step pipeline. We'll kick things off with data curation, then get into governance, talk about sizing and labeling, and then we'll finish up with the really cool part, human feedback loops.
First up, data curation. You should really think of this as the first and maybe the most important filter for all of your raw data. This is where we start separating the signal from all the noise.
So what does data curation actually mean? Well, it's a really disciplined process. It's about selecting, organizing, and just maintaining the data that's relevant and accurate. The main goal here is to strip away all the junk, the noise, the redundancy, leaving you with a clean, focused data set to build on.
Let's make this super concrete. Imagine you're training a legal AI. Your raw data dump might have everything. Legal documents, sure, but also random fiction, blog posts, you name it. The curation step is that filter that just gets rid of everything that isn't a legal text. What you're left with is a focused, powerful data set of just the stuff that matters.
Okay, so once you've curated your data, you need some rules for how to handle it, right? And that brings us to step 2, data governance. You can think of this as setting up the rules of the road for your data.
In a nutshell, data governance is the whole framework that makes sure everything is handled correctly. Yeah, it's about quality and accuracy, but it's also, and this is huge, about protecting privacy and making sure the data is used ethically. For building trustworthy AI, this stuff is completely non-negotiable.
So when we talk about governance, we're talking about a few core pillars. Things like sticking to privacy regulations, upholding ethical standards, and having real processes in place to guarantee data quality and accuracy. This framework is really the foundation of any responsible AI development.
Now let's talk about a really common misconception. A lot of people think that with AI, more data is always better. But, when it comes to fine-tuning, that's not exactly the case. It's really about quality over quantity.
Look, a massive dataset that's full of noise or just isn't representative of the real world is way less valuable than a smaller, high-quality one. The key word here is representativeness. Your data has to capture a huge range of scenarios, because if it doesn't, your model is going to develop some serious biases and blind spots.
Okay, so quick recap. We've got clean, compliant, and representative data. Now what? Well, now it's time to actually teach the model what it's supposed to be looking for. And this is where data labeling comes into play.
So data labeling is exactly what it sounds like. It's the process of adding descriptive tags or categories to your data. These labels act like a little study guide, explicitly showing the model the patterns you want it to learn. It's kind of like giving the AI a stack of flashcards with all the answers on the back.
And here's the classic example we all know, spam filters. You feed the model a plain, unlabeled email. Then, a person, or maybe another system, slaps a label on it, spam or not spam. Do that thousands of times, and pretty soon, the model learns to spot the patterns of spam all by itself. It's such a simple idea, but it is incredibly powerful.
And that brings us to our final step. This is really the most sophisticated stage of data prep, bringing humans directly into the loop to fine-tune the model's behavior. We do this with a technique called RLHF.
RLHF. It stands for Reinforcement Learning from Human Feedback, and it is a totally cutting-edge way to align a model's output with what humans actually prefer. We're going way beyond simple right or wrong labels here. We're teaching the model about nuance, about helpfulness, about what makes a good answer.
So this works in a really cool 3-step loop. First, you have actual humans who score the AI's answers based on things like, was this helpful? Was it accurate? Second, a separate reward model learns to predict what scores the humans will give. And finally, the main AI model is fine-tuned to generate responses that this reward model loves. It's this awesome system of continuous improvement, all guided by human judgment.
Whew, okay, that was a lot to get through. So let's wrap this all up with the key takeaways.
Think of this next part as the for the exam slide. This is the stuff you absolutely have to remember. All right, let's run through the 5 stages one last time. Data curation. That's all about selecting and filtering your data. Data governance, making sure everything is responsible and accurate. Size and representativeness, remembering that quality and diversity beat raw quantity. Data labeling, actively teaching the model with tags. And finally, RLHF, using human feedback to align the model with our preferences.
And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. As these AI models get even smarter and more capable, is this whole process of preparing their data going to get simpler, or is the need for more nuance, clearer guidelines, and that human touch going to make it even more complex? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me.